Hello guys, Ismail here. Just want to let a quick video here just to show you the setup of my Lightbox for photographing scale models or any other thing for that matter. So as you can see, I'm just basically using a cardboard box. This particular one is a big box from my water heater, I think, but it doesn't have to be that big. It just happened that was the one that I got. So basically I cut 3 of the sides on the box. So 2 of the sides and the top, so I could put some white paper on it so we can diffuse the light better. On top, I just have a 30-watt LED light. It's just any light source that you can get from the top that will illuminate with the soft light. On the base, I use some just poster board here to use as a background here. And depending on what you're photographing, you can either use white or black or any other color that you want. Sometimes you're not really sure, you just take pictures on both and see how it goes. In my case, since I basically take mostly still pictures, I also have some strobe lights in here that are triggered with a camera flash. That is not really necessary, but it's nice to have. If you're shooting just with a top light, you want to use a tripod. You want to make sure you get a nice solid tripod so the picture gets very sharp. As for a camera gear, it doesn't really have to be any upscale or any expensive system. So I'm using an old DSLR. This is my Pentax K100. This has been with me for 13 years at least. Manual flash, and this lens is a 50mm f4. This is a manual focus lens, and this is probably a 45-50-year-old lens, so it doesn't really have to be the latest and greatest. This is a 6-megapixel camera. I have found that for web purposes and even for publishing in the magazines, this is more than adequate. I've actually downsampled them to about 3 or 4 megapixels for printing, so you don't really need to go a gazillion megapixels just to get a nice picture. So let's say I want to take a picture of the interior of my current project on the C6R. So the camera setup is ISO 200, shutter speed 1/100th of a second, and the aperture is set at f16. And I'm using a manual flash pointing up just to trigger the strobe lights. So whatever you're photographing, you just want to make sure that it is underneath the light, so there's a light diffused light in here. And you will find out that white is not always the best color for the background. So say for example I want to photograph something that's gray or a dark color, we just put this in here. Let's say we are photographing a car in gray primer. Or maybe something in white primer. Now for some of my models, you may have seen that I use a bit more. So this is a background, a simple background that I did. It's just painted cardboard. In that case, you might need to raise the side strobe because there won't be any effective in here. So I would raise them up high so the light will come from the top. And that's basically it. I'm not quitting my day job to become a YouTuber because this is much harder than it looks. Thank you guys. I cut out, in my case for the specific,